Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here, and welcome to some Overwatch League news. No, it's not a roundup. No, it's not a sole Overwatch video. We have news on the 2020 season of the Overwatch League. That will be Season 3. We already knew that teams would be going to play at their home cities in the 2020 season, but we didn't really know how that was going to take form. We do now. So, the league will go through a restructure for its 2020 season. We currently have the Atlantic Division and the Pacific Division. Those will then be divided up again. They will now be conferences. The Atlantic Conference will have a North Division and a South Division. The Pacific Conference will have an East Division and a West Division. These will be comprised of 5 teams each. There will be no expansion teams for the 2020 season, which is understandable considering the changes the league will be going through. But this also enables for more expansion teams in the future and allows them to be more easily encompassed into the league. So, how will these divisions look? Well, Atlantic Conference. North Division will be made up of the Boston Uprising, the London Spitfire, the New York Excelsior, Paris Eternal, and the Toronto Defiant. The South Division will be comprised of the Atlanta Reign, Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws, Philadelphia Fusion, and the Washington Justice. I can already tell you that looks very biased to me. In the Pacific Conference, the East Division will be made up of the Chengdu Hunters, the Guangzhou Charge, the Hangzhou Spark, the Shanghai Dragons, and the Seoul Dynasty, basically everyone from Asia. And the West Division will be made up of Dallas Fuel, Los Angeles Valiant, Los Angeles Gladiators, the San Francisco Shock, and the Vancouver Titans. That is going to be an horrific division for the Fuel. I'm already seeing that. The Fuel are going to have to make some changes between seasons. Okay. That's not the only changes though. So we will still play 28 games in a season, but it will change slightly. So how going home and away will work is the fact that it will be done like it has been done this season in home stands. Each team will have the choice of holding anywhere between 2 and 5 home stands. I think we've already had it confirmed that Dallas want to hold 5. And they can be held at different arenas in that certain city, or they can be held at one arena depending on what that team wants to do. The reason they're doing this is because it's easier to schedule people flying out to these different places, and it's easier to broadcast it as well instead of everyone all over the place at different areas. What this does mean though is because of the strategic problems in terms of getting everyone out to everywhere, the structure of the league will change. Stages will no longer happen. So the big thing is, Shanghai Dragons, not only were you unexpected stage champions, you were the last stage champions. There will be no more stages. So that's pretty massive. That means possibly, and I would imagine probably, the prize money for the end tournament, the overall season playoffs, will go up quite substantially because there will be no prize money put into stage champions because there won't be any. So that's interesting. Next year, the league will take place between February and conclude in August. The All-Star, well, it wasn't a weekend, it was a week this time, wasn't it? The All-Stars will happen midway through the league, indicating that there will be a break in the middle of the league. The full 2020 schedule will be released next month, so that's much earlier than we've seen it before. And that's really, really interesting. We're going to get to know where these homestands will be, who will be playing at them. So, we've got a lot of information here. A lot of information here to work from. This obviously means, with no stages, this means that there's no break between stages. So, the league will run continuously from February through to August, apart from its mid-season thing for the All-Stars. But the league has said, don't worry about players getting burnt out because certain teams will have bye weeks where they won't play, which is something we don't see. Every team plays pretty much every week at the moment, apart from sometimes, but I'd imagine they will get extended, so they won't even have to travel. But this is unexpected. I wasn't expecting news of 2020 quite now, but what it says is there's going to be 52 homestand weekends across the globe. 52. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see where some of these teams hold these homestands, because it's going to... We've already seen it this season. So far we've seen Dallas and we've seen Atlanta. They've been crazy. They've been absolutely bonkers. And who knows? I mean, I've got ideas of where London could hold things, but, like, there's some big arenas in London. Some big places. So I don't know where they'll hold them, but it should be really goddamn interesting. And when you look at the Philly Fusion, we've seen plans for the Philly Fusion in the 2021 season to have their own arena, built for them, purpose-built, which will be crazy. An esports arena for the Philly Fusion, which is just, it's just bonkers, dude. But in terms of some of these conferences and the divisions, I have worries. I'm presuming that some of these teams, I don't know whether it's going to be the same format as this season, where you play more times against teams in your conference than you do against the teams in the other conference, or will you play more times against a team in your division within that conference and less against the teams in, say, the South Division, if you're in the North Division of the Atlantic Conference? I don't know. We'll have to wait for a fixture list for that. But when I look at these divisions, North Division, Boston Uprising, London, New York, Paris and Toronto, compared to the South Division, which has Atlanta, Florida, Houston, Philadelphia and Washington. Well, if you look at this season's form, again, nothing to go on because look at Shanghai Dragons. They're a perfect example of this. I know it's done geographically, but North Division is going to be a tough division, with London and New York in it. Boston are also a very good team. Paris and Toronto could make changes mid-season, between seasons. Whereas the South Division, you're looking at the best team being Fusion, as of current form, and by quite a margin. So that could be quite one-sided, although the Atlantic Division in this 2019 season has been one-sided anyway. Or the Pacific Division, again, you look at the West Division, Dallas Fuel, Pacific Conference, I should say, the West Division. You look at the Dallas Fuel, Los Angeles Valiant, Los Angeles Gladiators, San Francisco Shock and Vancouver Titans. Wow. Like, that's interesting. And I don't know the way this will work. I am perhaps thinking it will go either one of two ways. You know, we have the buys for the division winners right now. We will either get 4 buys for each winner of the West Division and East Division in the Pacific Conference, and then the North and South Divisions of the Atlantic Conference, or the winners of each division will play the winners of the other divisions. So the winners of the North Division will play the winners of the South Division to decide who the bye will be from the Atlantic Conference. There is that possibility as well, but that might create logistic issues. So we might see them do a bye for each team that wins a division within a conference. So we could see more buys going into the playoffs, the overall playoffs of next season, which means we could see more teams. Who knows? Who knows? We might see more teams in the overall playoffs. But it is a quick update video. This is big news. Big restructuring for the league next season. It's going to look different to how it has in the past 2 seasons, although this season it looks a lot different than it did last season. So who knows? But it's going to be really interesting. And actually, I think it will be quite tearful to see the Blizzard Arena for the last time. I'm just saying. I don't know where the playoffs will be held. Maybe they will be held at the Blizzard Arena. It would seem like the most sensible thing, but man. And the tickets will be going on sale shortly after the schedule has been released. So tickets for the 2020 season will be on sale in August. September. Wow. Just wow. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.